December the 8th, 2017. Guys, you're looking at Breitbart.com, and while we have our power back on, I'm going to try to get this video out. But many of you have seen this picture before. It's Beverly Nelson and Gloria Allred, her lawyer to the right. She's holding up a picture, I guess, of her when she was younger. And this was the original picture when it came out, when the Democrats were trying to destroy Roy Moore. Remember, Mitch McConnell put in over $30 million so that Luther Strange would defeat Roy Moore. It didn't happen. Alabama's not stupid. They're all for making America great again. Then this happened, and then certain people started screaming and yelling. Remember in the video last night I said these people that start screaming about things are hiding something. Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, they immediately attacked Roy Moore, said, step down, step down. The Republican National Committee, they took their money and support away from Roy Moore, but it didn't matter. People like Steve Bannon and our channel, which has run polls and showing that there was no close race at all. Judge Roy Moore was hundreds of points ahead of Jones. But this is how desperate the deep state is, and what we're seeing now. Again, look at the title of this one. Roy Moore accuser, Beverly Nelson, admits she forged the yearbook. Judge Roy Moore kept denying it and kept denying it, but the deep state mainstream media kept attacking him. The Democrats kept attacking him, and the fake Republicans, like McConnell and Ryan, kept attacking him. And now look what has just come out. And why is it coming out now? Guys, I think it's got everything to do with this, basically a revolution, guys. Trump is taking down the CIA. He's taking down the FBI through the Department of Justice. And these people are being forced to come clean. One of the QAnon posts said that about 20% of what's going on with this coup, counter-coup thing, about 80% we will never see. About 20% we'll be exposed to. In other words, we'll start seeing results like this, results like Matt Lauer, Al Franken, the other people that are having to resign right now, Conley, those people. Think about it. But we're not hearing the whole story, and right here we're not hearing the whole story either. But Jeff Sessions, a few weeks ago when he was up before one of the committees, and I think it was Congress, or the Senate, one of them, I can't remember, guys, but he said that there's about to be a change. No more are these sanctuary city judges and circuit judges going to change the law of the land, block the Trump agenda. That was over. What had happened about that time, they were getting ready to, I think, raid the CIA, get their files, expose everything, pull the money out, and now they've gone to both Allred and Beverly Nelson and said, you're busted. You're both about to go to jail for a long time, or you can come clean and admit it, and we'll take it easy on you. But you're going to tell us who put you up to it. And so this is very important about the draining of the swamp. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, guys, that we're just now starting to see. But everyone that has dogged Judge Roy Moore should apologize. Mitch McConnell and Ryan may be behind this. If they were going to put $30 million behind Luther Strange to stop Judge Roy Moore from getting in, how much would they put into these two right here? Think about what I'm telling you. This is a deep state takedown, and I'm so glad to see it, guys. There's no exact way to know, but I bet you Doug Jones, who Roy's running against in Alabama, coming up in 4 days on the 12th, everybody better vote. I bet you he had something to do with it, because they're all snakes in the same bed. They're going down. The ones that snitch out where they're getting paid from will get the lighter sentences, but they're being exposed. It's a takedown. Let's read some of this. And John Nolte from Breitbart, thank you very much for the article. It says, Beverly Young Nelson has finally admitted she forged a portion of the infamous high school yearbook that she and attorney Gloria Allred used as proof of her accusations against U.S. Senate candidate Roy Moore. In the last few weeks, I've seen demands from Roy Moore's lawyers demanding that yearbook so that they could have the handwriting test done. They wouldn't release it. They knew they were guilty then. And this is interfering with federal elections. It goes beyond RICO. That's what I'm telling you about Jeff Sessions and Donald Trump working together. They're taking them down, and they're taking them down hard. And in yet another blow to the credibility of ABC News, the disgraced left-wing network downplayed the bombshell by presenting this admission of forgery as adding notes to the inscription. Worse still, the reporter actually coaches Nelson, puts words in her mouth, downplays the enormous significance of her deceit. Why? Because mainstream media, CIA, so is the Democratic and the traitor Republicans. They're all deep state, and they're all panicking. Says Beverly Young Nelson, one of the women accusing GOP Senate candidate Roy Moore of sexual misconduct, tells GMA it sickens her to think what might happen if Moore is elected. This is when this started. This ABC was News Politics. That was when they were coaching her. Nelson admits she did make notes to the inscription, ABC News tells us, but the message was all Roy Moore. Beverly, he signed your yearbook, ABC News reporter Tom Lamas said. He did sign it, she replies. ABC, you're going into federal election interference and RICO Act, again, because multiple people working together to commit a crime. And you made some notes underneath, and Nelson says yes. And then after a woman admits to forging a document used in the campaign to destroy the Republican nominee for the U.S. Senate in Alabama, ABC News quickly moves on as though it's not news of an extraordinary consequence. That's what they have to do. They are panicking because all of the information that was gained from Langley has tied everyone together. All of the implants from Operation Mockingbird, where the CIA took over mainstream media years ago, implanted their people, control everything. You talk about communism. That's why they're panicking. Lamas also fails to ask any follow-up, such as, if the explanation is this simple, why wait all these weeks to offer it? Or why did you lie? Nelson is accusing Moore of attempting to assault her when she was just 16 years old. With the election just 4 days away, this admission of forgery could not come at a better time for Moore. Nelson and Allred are planning a news conference Friday, but nothing will overcome the forgery admission. No, it won't. If Allred knew that this was a forgery, if she was behind this deep state move, she's got to go down too. How can anyone believe anything she says after admitting to such a thing? Early reports are that Nelson and Allred will produce an expert to prove the rest of the yearbook is not a forgery. So a proven forger is bringing in her own expert. What an insult to the people of Alabama. Another problem with Nelson is that she has a motive to lie and forge. As a circuit judge, Roy Moore ruled against her in a 1999 divorce case. The Moore campaign had been pressuring Nelson and Allred for weeks to submit the yearbook for independent handwriting analysis. Now everyone knows why that request was rejected and ignored. That's what we're talking about. With Nelson thoroughly discredited, this leaves two accusers against Moore. One is Lee Korfman, who claims Moore molested her as a 14-year-old child. $30 million would do a lot, won't it, guys? She is the most credible of the three, but the narrative behind her story that Moore's abuse resulted in Korfman's living a troubled life of drinking, drugs, boyfriends, and a suicide attempt is directly contradicted by different court records. Think about it. Moore's final accuser is Tina Johnson, a woman who claims Moore groped her butt in his office in 1991. But again, as the case with Kaufman and Nelson, the left-wing media outlets reporting the allegations, the Washington Post, AL.com, who owns the major newspapers in Alabama, guys, either failed to fully vet the accuser or withheld crucial context. RICO Act, Washington Post, AL.com, interfering with a U.S. election. Thanks to the media's going behind these discredited outlets to fact-check the reporting, we now know that Johnson did not tell the entire truth. She was not in Moore's office on business. If she was in Moore's office at all, it was due to a bitter custody battle where Moore represented Johnson's mother, who was trying to gain custody of Johnson's 12-year-old son based on the claim that Johnson was unfit, absent, and an unstable mother. And as far as the accusations against Moore involving him wanting to date teenage girls, guys, in Alabama, the legal age was, 40 years ago, 16. It still is. It wasn't an uncommon thing. Never said he raped or anything like that, but it was socially accepted. And again, check Alabama. Legal age is 16. So Moore did not break the law. He was not violating any social mores. But I wanted to get this out to the folks in Alabama. The deep state is so slimy. And now they're having to retreat, guys. I would bet a lot that they had a visit from the Department of Justice. Again, you better come clean. It's going to go down hard on you, and we want to know where the money came from. Looks like Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan are going to have a hard time for the next few months. This is a heads up. Be safe.